Hi, welcome to my kind of a showreel portfolio piece. The only way I can do this currently to make it the most efficient way is to do it as a video. Mostly because the 20 megabyte upload is not going to be enough for me to present all my work in one post. So what I will do is I'll basically just upload uh, the link to YouTube channel with this video that I'm currently making, and also just a few images bunched up together, just to kind of showcase my work in a short manner. I'll try to make it as short as possible for the viewing. So I'll start again, I guess. So first of all, I've got this little notepad on the side, and we'll just go through every of these elements. First of all, I'd like to go through the project, and what I did. I will need to disable the audio though, just to make sure that nothing's blowing on the ears. So I'd like to start off with saying that I have, for the things I've done, basically it was the general setup of a project. So I actually created the project myself, right? So the current basis. So we used the third. It was a top-down template with just basic stuff like the character itself and just the BSP. Then I have managed to create the unit setup. So I basically created the low units database as well as the unit weapon data. Later on, it was enhanced by the tech lead. I created the base unit class, which you can see here. Managed to create I created the controller as well. The attack trigger is also mine. From the AI tree, actually the entirety of the AI was done by me. It's just a simple piece of code, which is literally just two things. However, under the hood itself, what happens is basically all of this is set within the AI controller and stuff. So all of this is for the AI. Most the buffs were done by the lead. I've set up the meshes, set up the enemy attacks actually, because the lead tech has done it just to debug it, whereas I needed to actually finish it off. So we do have the melee and the ranged attack variations. That blueprint is mine. Attack range was his, if I'm correct, but I added the use control rotation yaw and the constraints, just so that the units don't bug out when they reach the defeat line. Because what was happening when they reached the defeat line, they were just starting to wiggle around with no reason. This most of it is mine as well. Yeah, and also this part of blueprint is mine. So yeah. Later on, I've also managed to create the 3D map. We'll go into the main menu first, if you don't mind. So the main menu I've created myself. It has 3 buttons. Conquer button, which will take you into the map that you can see behind the blur, unless it's your first time actually playing the game. Then what will happen is it will prompt you to actually play the first level. Give me a second, because for some strange reason the full screen doesn't want to work, which is strange. Give me a second. Never mind. So you can reset the save in the options menu. It gives you the how to play. It tells you to reset the save file if you'd like. So the main menu was done by me, as I mentioned before. You can quit, you can go into the game. So if I go into the game, it will promptly ask me to play level 1. I can just press that. As you can see, this widget, I've enhanced it by adding the images in and actually setting all of the art for the UI was set up by me personally, and I've managed to make most of it. I think this screen was only unchanged, to be honest with you. Also, dialogues. So dialogues were done by me. They currently just use a data table, which, how can I say this? So the wave manager takes the data table with the dialogues, and what happens is it will send the information to the dialogue manager to play a certain dialogue from the current wave, and then the widget gets created, and the dialogues go on. So as you can see, also the grids were kind of enhanced by me as well because they were kind of broken when I got them, so I needed to fix them. Card images were done by me. The actual main UI was also done by me. The only element which I wish I could have done better was the currency, as you can see, because it's just a white image. We didn't have an image for the currency, unfortunately. Also, the progression bar was broken. As you can see, it is setting progression, but the color is kind of behind it, which is annoying. I don't know why it happens. I tried setting it up in different ways, and it still does the same thing. I have no idea what's happening with it. But overall, it all works. The death animations were set up by me as well. The attack animations were also set up by me as well. However, the events within the animations and notifiers were done by the lead tech. So yeah, as you can see, the AI fully works and there's no issues with it. I can show you the 3D widget map now. So if I go into this, as you can see, you've got different planets and stuff. You've got 3 main options, which is return to main menu, unlocked cards. So if I press into unlock cards, you can see the description and the statistics of each unit. You can go back, go to the shop. You can buy stuff from the shop, so you can buy the items. I'm not able to because I don't have enough currency yet, so I won't show you how it works. But you can also buy the other cards as well. You can buy that card actually. I'll buy that card and it'll be there. So yeah, as you can see, the card's there. So the shop works. Also, I've managed to put in all the levels we had. Apart the only issue was that this level was not meshed at all. We just didn't have time to do so. But the other one was, so I've also put in all the levels in. I've put in all the art assets, imported them in. The only problem I had with them, because importing actually just took 5 minutes itself, but the problem was that the materials on each mesh were problematic because I actually need to go into each and every single one material. And what needed to happen was for me to move the base color node and click apply on every single material we had. Otherwise it just wouldn't be displayed. I don't know why it happened, no idea, but it took me about half an hour of work just to get that set up. But at least it was fixed. Anything else that I could have notified about this? Yes. So currently, also apart from all the tech improvements I've made and the start of the project, we have managed to successfully build the game itself. So I do have it in the final. I can launch a project. Well, the build itself, sorry. I'm not sure if it's going to go into the Galaxy map straight away, because I don't know if I have created the thing itself, the save file. However, should play before. Just give it a second. Yeah, so as you can see, all the stuff is displaying correctly. You can go to the options, you can reset the save file. As you can see, everything works. It shouldn't crash. There's only the lighting needs to be rebuilt information, which is kind of annoying. I don't know why it happens, because I did build the lighting, and then when I built it, all the data disappeared. So that was kind of annoying. However, as you can see, everything works. So we actually had a good build of the game. So you can actually cancel the game and exit it. So the build was done by me as well. We did make sure, well, the lead tech actually made sure that the build was correct. I did have a problem later on to do with the directory, because the directories were too long. The directory can only have 255 symbols, which it exceeded, and it just wouldn't export at all. So I needed to drag it onto the desktop and then try to build it. Because the other way, it will just say no, the file directory is too long and I just won't do it. So, I've explained what I've done for the project. I've explained that I managed to build successfully. Design-wise, what I've managed to do was create the actual technical design document. We didn't bother with the game design document because we didn't really need it. The art department was doing their own thing, so they didn't need to have any references or the art style stuff. They were just kind of going off from their own initiative. I only guided them to a simple idea, and they kind of went on with it. But we did need a technical design document. The reason why was, for the lead tech to actually go through the design document, which he did, and he used it to create the mechanics. So that was good. I've asked the design team. I'll show it later on where I'll show you which tasks I gave them. But basically, I gave them tasks to improve some parts of the technical design document. So I gave them core loop tasks. I gave them the UI design, any additional mechanics that they wanted to. I gave them things to create a list of items and enemies and stuff. So they did that, and most of the work actually was, most of this documentation was my own work merged with their ideas. So as you can see, we've got the contents table and stuff. I'm not sure if it's updated though, so yeah, I didn't update it for a long time, the content table, not the actual content itself. So as you can see, there's the core loop diagrams and the core loop table that explains everything. It's on Teams in the design channel under the technical document subpage. If you'd like to have a look at that, just go through it. It's nice and detailed. I've created the template myself out of various times of me doing design documentations for my own projects. I found out that it's just better to have a template and just go off of that. And this template is actually, I think it's really effective on how to portray stuff. The design team actually liked the way I laid it out, especially the lead tech, because it just gave him a lot of description and it was easy to understand. So he did have, the table with the actions, what was the result of each action, which variables changed. Gave him the diagram as well to simplify the process and any variables. And so most of it was done apart from the card system. Can't remember why I didn't do that. We did have a diagram for it, but I just didn't put in there. Placing down cards, wave manager. So everything that was in here in the actual game technical design was done by me personally. Some of the stuff was just inspired from the junior and senior teamwork from the design. So I just kind of went through what they did and redone it to be more suited to this kind of format I had. So yeah, it's about 30 pages if I'm correct. So, next one is tasks and feedback. Personally, I have made a lot of tasks for the juniors and seniors to follow. So if I go here, I've got a folder here, so tasks, and also how to start it off. I just need to think about this. So basically I'm just going to go through each image. So this was the level design for the hangar itself. I've kind of highlighted the areas which needed to be changed. It was during a conversation over Discord with the level designer Patrick. We basically just, I highlighted some stuff that he needed to change and the stuff that he needed to add. This was at the first BSP kind of a stage for the level. So I don't know why it doesn't want to go later on. Yeah, no, it does. So this was the level design as well. I gave out kind of a brief description of what the level is. I gave him a reference. Basically just a simple process. If he had any questions he would just ask, but most of the time when I gave him the actual tasks myself, he didn't have any issues with that. He didn't need any more info. He just wanted feedback if I wanted to change anything about what he has done so far. I'll go into that later. But yeah, so level design was there. Tech tasks. So if I'm correct, Cameron has received it. So basically, he went through the UI and he has created the UI, and we kind of merged it together into the project later on, and we took some inspiration from what he has done. General design, I can't remember who had that. I think it was Joshua. Joshua had this task of actually creating, design for structures that will be placed onto each grid, so turrets, blockade walls, and whatever else. This was an image to showcase to the artist what kind of perspective we were using. It kind of just changed a little bit because I moved the player start a bit further back so that we had more space for the cards. However, I didn't change any of the degree angles or anything like this, so it remained the same. It was just in a different position. Options menu task. It was the item list, which Joshua did as well. I've handed out some more, but I don't have everything on me now. Might be in the temp folder. Give me a second because I've got a lot of folders. Was the report sheet tasks? Yes. So I created a little Word document which would just showcase the tasks that were given out to people as well. I think one or two were not there because I just kind of didn't prepare them in the way that I did here, and I just handed them out straight away because I just didn't have time to do it. But yeah, as you can see, that was there. I'll have a read through it. Also, feedback. That was the thing that I needed to mention. So, every time one of the designers gave his work back to me as a senior, I wanted to provide feedback so that they could learn from what I already know, and it will be beneficial for them to kind of go on with it. I've noticed that a lot of junior designers, they just use bullet points for everything. It's just not easily readable for stuff. So what ended up happening, I created a little table where I mentioned the great stuff they have done and what I would change. Some of it has actual screens of what they did, just to kind of clarify what I'm talking about. And I've done all the explanation there. This one's just missing the great stuff on the top, but yeah. So I've been providing feedback to every person in our team about what needed to be done and what could have been done better, what I liked about the design. So as you can see here, I have provided the little template that they would be able to use for the mechanics themselves, because what they were doing is they were kind of bullet pointing things like this, which is not good at all because it's not really readable. You can go through it, but it's not really a good option. It's good to do it the way I've done it in a technical design document because it's just a lot more readable and understandable for the tech guys and over to the design people in the team. So feedback and tasks were done, as you can see. So correspondence. So correspondence, basically most of our time has been spent on Discord. I can kind of go through it. It's not much in there. Just a lot of fluff, basically. But yeah, most of our correspondence was done through Discord on every of the channels. So we had design, tech, animation, art, and stuff. So everything was there. We did have a lot of correspondence on Teams as well. So what we've done is, if we did make any kind of progress on Discord and stuff in general, we would put it onto Teams just to make sure that you lecturers could see what we were doing at the time. Sometimes some people just didn't bother to upload anything, which is a hassle, I understand. But we did give all the updates later on in the meetings. So Also, after each meeting we had with the lecturers, we have managed to go. To be honest with you, I think the longest we had was 8 hours. 8 hours meeting after the actual meeting in total. Just talking about the actual design progress and the tech progress of everything and what needed to be done, and we just had casual conversations about the project itself. So overall, we actually did spend a lot of time going through the team's channel to make sure that everything is there and to make sure that some kind of correspondence was on there. On average, we did spend about 8 hours, 8 hours a week on actual in conversation over the voice chat, basically. Yeah, so 8 hours average over voice chat on Teams was done per week. The most we've done, I think, it was like about 16 hours in a week, which was just huge. JIRA, the problem I have with JIRA is that I cannot really showcase my work on there. I don't know how to do it. I know that I can go through the sprint reports, but I don't know how to see my issues, which I have all created by myself in all of the sprints. So we've got all the reports and stuff, as you can see. So on the problem is I don't really know how to go through every single. Actually, maybe in epics, maybe. Give me a second. I'm gonna try to go through it. That's the only issue I have. Yeah, I've got errors in JIRA, so that's wonderful. I think that after some time, it might not allow you to go through the tasks. I think. Yeah, it just won't let me. Just won't let me do it. My open issues. Yeah, I think that might be it. I'm not sure. On Teams and on JIRA in general, I try to make it as good as possible. So basically, I think in week 2 I didn't post anything, and in week 7, but I don't know if we actually need to post anything in week 7 afterwards. So I kind of mushed everything into week 6. So throughout the project, I managed to create to kind of get along with JIRA and try to make it the industry standard level. So when I created the tasks, I would create subtasks for that task. I would set the priority, the affect version, and the description as well. We'll give out any attachments relevant to the tasks and stuff. So I tried to do that. Sorry, I can't show other stuff on JIRA because I just don't know how to access it. But yeah, the last thing will be the forum post itself. I've done it yesterday. So my actual forum post, it goes week by week on what went well and what went bad. In general, as you can see, it goes through that. I've merged 2 weeks, which was the week 6 and week 7 together. Because to be honest with you, in week 6 that wasn't really that much to kind of describe, so I just merged the week 6 and 7 together to make sure that there's a lot of content in that one paragraph, on that one section. Self-reflection is there for each of my roles, so because I was the leader of the project, I've put in the management role and what I could have, what was done good, what was done bad, what could have been changed. Put in the tech because I was a support tech, design because I was the lead design, JIRA and stuff, so as I've explained before, what was done, and also the conclusion overall on the project. As you can see, there was a lot of stuff. Also, that was the entire folder that I've used for junior senior, so I had several backups. We tried to use GitHub, but it was just on my part, it was just keep breaking. I couldn't merge files, I couldn't upload it and stuff, because it just wouldn't work. It was giving me errors all the time, and at one point it just reset the entire project. It was in week 6. Yeah, so it erased like 12 hours of my progress. Later on, as you can see, we also have some references there. That's all of the assets that were used for widgets. I also created little lists and schedules for stuff that needed to be done. This was on week 6 when we needed to go and create everything. That was outstanding. JS schedule also. That was the first week of the project that needed to be worked on. That was the schedule. Also the presentation, the original pitch for the game itself. Yeah. Retrospection. What I've written basically on the forum post. There's nothing different about it. Some AI notes, the currency system and how it worked. The ideas for the game itself as well, just some basic stuff. I've also provided some of the diagrams in there. That was all used for the technical word documentation. Also, I had the board itself for the diagrams for draw.io. If I'm correct, I'm not a. I think I found it actually. Just give me a second. I'll try to open it. Draw.io. So if I open the diagram, you'll see the amount of stuff we actually created for the diagrams themselves. It just went to the extreme where sometimes when I upload the diagrams themselves, my Opera browser would just crash. Yeah, we had a few diagrams there, as you can see. And all these are individual objects. So as you can see, the actual design and the technical design was not that far off from what we have done so far. I think just this screen was not introduced properly, and this was also not introduced properly because we didn't have the region art and stuff, but we did have the description. But yeah, as you can see, most of the stuff was implemented as accurately as possible, especially this screen. But yeah, apart from this, I think this is everything I could show you from the showcase. As I said before, I couldn't do it in any other kind of way because, as you have seen, there was just so much stuff I have done. There was no way I could possibly include it just in one post. It was just impossible. Because if I do click on the thread, as you can see, the total number is 20 megabytes, and I would have needed to include all the Word documentation. I needed to include all the Word documents which I have done so far, all the images, all the tasks, feedback and stuff. It just wouldn't be possible, so I kind of just went along and just did the video. I hope that you liked what you have seen so far and my progress for the project, to give kind of a general idea of how much work I need to put in with the 3 positions I held within the group. I went to kind of extremes, so because the required guidelines is about 16 to 20 hours, if I'm correct, per week. On week 7, I managed to pull off about 48 hours, something like this. Literally on the last day before the submission, I spent 12 hours just polishing up the project and stuff. If I didn't put it in, the project would not look like this, believe me. But prior to this, on average, I actually spent about 30 to 40 hours each week. Responding to all the correspondence, making sure that everyone has their task, making sure that my tech design and the miscellaneous departments were also on track with the work. I didn't have much effect on the art team because our team was I gave away the responsibility of the art team to another person, or to the lead of the art, just to make sure that I had enough time to sort out the other departments, because I am not an artist. I don't know how the framework goes and stuff, how they do the workflow. So I kind of left it off with the lead art, but because the group was too liberal, so we had voting on every single thing. It came out that in week 3 we still didn't have any art style, which was just hilarious, because all other departments were okay, but just the art were being too liberal on this idea. So after a short meeting with 3 people, we managed to get along with a good one idea, which was quite solid. Yeah, I've also done cell shaders. I didn't mention them. I just reminded myself. However, because we installed the Android APK to the project, what happened was the project itself. Uh, I'm not sure how it works, but I know that was a problem, where the Android build sometimes they do not accept some translucency settings, which caused the shader not to work. It gave out an error, something to do with opaque materials and translucency settings. I tried to research it, and I had just absolutely no idea. The reason why we went before was because we didn't have the Android APK, and after we included it, it just broke. Some things in the project settings have changed, which just broke the cell shaders, so we didn't include them, unfortunately. However, I did give an image. I will actually. I have them in the downloaded stuff, don't I? Yeah. So the shader itself, it looked like this. As a screenshot where I've imported it just to a basic project. So that's how it's supposed to look like. However, it just didn't work. Broke, unfortunately. But yeah. Apart from that, I think that's everything I could show you, to be honest with you. So yeah. I hope you enjoyed the little talk I had with you guys. I think we've reached about 30 minutes by now, so sorry about this. But yes, this is everything, and I hope you enjoyed it thoroughly, because I did enjoy the project, even though we had a lot of issues. We resolved them, and we're all happy. So, I hope to see you later. Bye.